up, everybody? This is Derek Neff, Sentinel Response. Hopefully I can save you a lot of time and a lot of headaches choosing an optic for your AR-15. Now, things to consider when choosing an optic is your particular application with that firearm. For example, this is a self-defense rifle that I got. So I wanted to choose an optic that's quick and easy to acquire the sight picture. So I chose a Vortex UH1. It's a holographic sight. In my opinion, the quickest sights to acquire for self-defense are either a red dot or a holographic sight. You're not having to fight around trying to find a sight picture out of a scope. So I also put a GBRS Hydra mount on there. The reason why I put that mount on there is to raise it up so I don't even have to move my head around. As soon as I get the rifle up to my shoulder, I can see a clear sight picture. So as soon as I get it up, as soon as it hits my shoulder, don't even have to turn my head. I can see the sight perfectly clear. And if anybody knows, in a self-defense situation, time is everything. So you don't want to be wasting time looking for your sight picture. It could cost you your life. So red dots or holographic sights are the best for self-defense. And I mean, I would be confident to use this even out to 150 yards easy, or maybe 200 yards, no problem. I'm able to hit 16-inch by 16-inch plates like this, quick fire at like 100 yards, no problem. As long as you have it zeroed in at the right distance. But I have it mounted forward because it's just the easiest spot for me to be able to see the sight picture. Now, what I don't recommend is that you share any space on your handrail, on your hand guard. This hand guard has a screw in it that holds it in place, but there are some hand guards that can shift. They have screws at the bottom, but if these screws come loose, the hand guard could move, and you don't want to mount an optic to something that's going to be moving. So I've got mine forward like this, all the way as far as you can go forward on the upper receiver, and then I've got it mounted higher up. That's because it's just easier and quicker for me to acquire. I'm not having to fish for it. All right. Now, I don't recommend putting like a hunting scope on a self-defense rifle for obvious reasons, you know, being that scopes are a little harder to acquire the sight picture. But also, one thing to consider, this is a 6.5 Grendel I got for deer hunting. When you mount a scope, doesn't matter if it's on an AR-15 or a bolt action or whatever. What I will do is I will adjust my stock to where I'm going to be normally using it, and then I will set the scope on the rail and not tighten it down, but I will put the rifle up to put my cheek on the stock, and wherever my cheek naturally falls onto the stock, I will adjust the scope either forward or backwards to have a clear sight picture as soon as I put my cheek on there. So if you don't do that, then you're having to fish, move your face back and forward, trying to find the correct sight picture. But I will mount mine as soon as I put my cheek on the rest. I can see a clear sight picture, and that saved me this past hunting season. I was sitting in the stand, and I was watching a coyote that was chasing a little fawn, and I'd already set my heart on letting that coyote have it. So he ran behind some brush, and I was waiting for him to come out for about 30 minutes, and I was fixated directly in front of me. Really wasn't paying too much attention to, you know, the side views. I had a quick thought. I'm confident it was the Holy Spirit that gave me the intuition, but I just happened to look to the left, and I saw the biggest buck that I've ever laid eyes on in my life. So, I mean, it's the biggest buck that I've shot. I'm sure some of you, you know, Midwest in up north, guys. This buck ain't the biggest monster, but hey, it was the biggest buck I ever shot. But he was in my clear view. I had a clear shot. 30 seconds. If I would have waited 30 seconds, I would have missed him. He would have been gone in the woods. But I was able to swing my rifle around and get my sight picture quick, put a nice clean shot on him, and he ran about 30 yards and dropped. So that, mounting the optic in that location where I can acquire the quickest sight picture, saved me. I was able to get that buck, put a nice clean shot, and yeah. So that's what you want to do in mounting a scope. Make sure that you mount it in a location that's going to be quick to acquire. All right. And another quick tip is just, guys, don't be piddling around with little cheap red dots, especially if you are using it for a self-defense application. You don't want to trust your life to something cheap. God forbid it comes down where it's time to party, you put your rifle up and you see nothing but glass. So don't trust your life to a cheap red dot. There are more affordable options. For example, I've got a Hollow Sun red dot on a 7.62x39 platform that I got. And this is, probably, this particular one is like the mid twos, inside of the mid two range. So it's not cheap, but it's also not crazy expensive either. But this Hollow Sun's a good reputable brand, and this one actually has a little solar panel on top. If you can see it up there, and that saved me. I took this hunting one time, and that little solar panel saved me. And this little rifle actually, every time I go out on the hog hunting or down here in South Florida, I take this rifle with me because 7.62x39 is better, in my opinion. It's a good round for hog hunting. But that being said, it also goes through a little bit of abuse. This rifle is bounced around. It's slid around a couple of times, but it's never lost zero. So I've had this optic on here for probably 3 or 4 years now, and it's never let me down. Never let me down. So yeah, I put a 3x magnifier on here. So if you're hunting kind of close range, that red dot is good. But if you want to take a shot out to like 100 yards, you can put that red dot on there and it'll help you do that. So hopefully this information helps you guys, saves you a lot of headache. Remember, consider the application that you're going to be using your rifle for. If you're going to be using it for hunting, then maybe a hunting scope would be good for you. But if you're going to be using it for self-defense, red dot holographic all day long. So hopefully this helped you guys out. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'll be glad to answer them. I'm going to post a link in the description to my website if you're looking for some decent optics. Like I said, guys, I don't recommend buying cheap on uncommon brands, because if you ever have an issue with it, you don't want to have to deal with you don't want to have an issue in general. So you want to get something that's reputable. That being would be like a Hollow Sun, even the Sig Sauer Romeo 5s. I got these on a couple of rifles, and these are great options. Also to consider too for self-defense, this Sig Sauer Romeo and the Hollow Suns are all shake and awake. So as soon as you pick the rifle up, the red dot turns on, and that's phenomenal for self-defense. So you don't have to worry about piddling around with an on button. So as soon as you pick that rifle up, red dot turns on, and you can start going to work. So it's also good for hunting. You get the biggest hog you ever seen or a deer of a lifetime, and you forgot to turn your optic on. especially if you have gloves. You don't want to have to worry about trying to turn on an optic. So shake and awake is also really good for self-defense. But yeah, guys, hopefully that helped you. Yeah, let me know if you got any more questions. And another thing I wanted to add to is if you have experience with guns or firearms in general, and you've got somebody who's new to it, looking for advice, or if you see somebody that's making some, maybe chosen some subpar equipment, or, you see the guys that buy the scopes that have 16 attachments on them that, they found on Wish or something. Instead of demeaning those guys and talking down to them and, scolding them for, purchasing something that they probably shouldn't have. They probably did it out of ignorance, but don't be shaming guys. Don't be shaming people. So we obviously need we need to come together in a two-way community. So don't be shaming people. If you claim to have superior knowledge over somebody else, why don't you share that knowledge with them instead of pushing their face in the mud? So, and I always like to, and that goes with anything. If you have some type of superior knowledge, help a brother out. Don't be pushing people's face in the mud. So let's, we need to start helping each other more. If you've got some knowledge that you need to share it instead of being a dirtbag about it. I always go back to Ephesians 4, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11 and 12. This is obviously in a spiritual application, but you can also use this in any application, in my opinion. And he says here, and he himself gave some to be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers, for the equipping of the saints, for the work of ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. And verse 13 says, till we all come to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, to a perfect man, to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. So you see somebody struggling, bro, help them out. Don't shame them. All right? Give them some brotherly love and impart that superior knowledge that you feel that you have to them. All right? God bless, guys. Stay ready and be the protector that God has purposed and called you to be. God bless.